Hello students, welcome to KMPS Educates, and in this video we will go through the very first chapter of history, that is what, where, how and when. So like the chapter name says, there are going to be lots of questions in the chapters and one by one we'll find their answers. So in the beginning of the chapter you'll see a question asked by Rashida. So while reading a newspaper, she wondered how could anyone know about what had happened so many years ago. So she was constantly thinking कि लोगों को कैसे पता चलता है कि 1000 years पहले क्या हुआ था या फिर 5000 years पहले क्या हुआ था. Like we can remember what had happened 1 year ago or even 10 years ago, but 1000 or 5000 or 500 years are very long time. So she was wondering कि how do people know? So the very first question is that what can we know about the past? So there are variety of things we can find about the past, like what kind of clothes people wear in the past, what food they used to eat, in what kind of houses they used to live, the lifestyles of hunters, the lifestyles of farmers, rulers, merchants, and how the artists used to paint, how the agriculture system was. The songs and plays were of very different kind. So there are many things which we can study or we can know about the past. So the next question arises, where do people live? In the map, you can see River Narmada. So this is a matlab, this is a physical map of subcontinent, and you can see River Narmada located in the blue box. For 100,000 of years, people are living or people have lived near the banks of river, and those people were called skilled gatherers. Okay, so they used to live near the bank of river for the like for the water or for the agriculture or for their food. So next you see Suleiman and Kirthar hills. So these are the places where people first started growing crops like wheat and barley and whatever the crops were. So they started growing crops here and started domesticating animals around 8,000 years ago. Can you imagine 8,000 years ago people started growing crops first. The agriculture system developed first in Suleiman and Kirthar hills. Next, you see Garo and Vindhyas hills located with the green triangle. These are the places where people first started growing rice. So, rice was first grown in the north of the Vindhyas hills. And next, you see River Indus. Near the bank of the river Indus, the earliest cities or the very first cities developed around 4700 years ago. The very first city, or you can say people started developing themselves 4700 years ago. Next, you see River Ganga, and around 25 years ago, cities developed here also after the river Indus. Near the banks of River Ganga, cities developed 25 years ago, 2500 years ago, sorry. Next, you see River Son. River Son is the tributary of River Ganga, and the tributaries are the rivers which flow into the big rivers, or you say which flow into the larger rivers. So Son is the tributary of Ganga, River Ganga. And here the very first big kingdom was established, or you say developed, which was called Magadha. Magadha was the kingdom of Mauryans, Ashok Maurya, if you remember, Samrat Ashok. And we'll study about him in the next few chapters. And the very first big kingdom was developed near the Son, River Son. So in this chapter, you only have to remember this, that the very first big kingdom, that is Magadha, was established near the River Son. Next, so the next question arises, how the countries or how our country, India, or any country of the world got their names. So names of the land, So the Iranians and Greeks came around 2500 years ago to India. They came and they have given very different names to the people who used to live here. So our country is known by the very famous two names, that is India or Bharat, and these two names are derived from the Indus river, which is called Sindhu in Sanskrit. जो इंडस है, इंडस को हम सिंधु कहते हैं संस्कृत में, जो एंड इंडिया और भारत इसी से डिराइव्ड होके आ रखे हैं. ओके. एंड जो पीपल होते थे, पीपल हु यूज्ड टू लिव इन द नॉर्थ and the people who used to live in the northwest were called Bharata. The Greek people used to call them Bharata. And the Greek who are very familiar with the Indus river, so they called it Hindus and Sanskrit. And the people who used to live in the northwest, they were called Bharata, and this is mentioned in the very popular Veda, that is Rig Veda, which was written around 3500 years ago. So it is mentioned in the Rig Veda that people who used to live in the northwest, they were called Bharata. Next question is, so the next question is finding out about the past. So what we can find about the past, what are the things which has helped us to find about the past? So first we have manuscripts. Manuscripts, you have heard about this word somewhere. If not, I'll tell you what it is. Manuscripts are books, or you say pages, tied along, and they were written by hands long ago. They were written on the palm leaves and the palm, or you say the bark of the trees which were found in the Himalayas. Bark, like जो हिमालयन ट्रीज के जो छिलके होते थे, पेड़ के छिलके, उन पर भी लिखा जाता था इसको, उसको मतलब पेड़ के छिलकों को अच्छे से फाइन करके then people used to write manuscripts. So, and these manuscripts were written very long ago, and some of them are destroyed, but many of them have survived in the temples and in the monasteries. So manuscripts helped us a lot to know about our history. They tell us about the lifestyles of kings, the religious beliefs people used to follow in the past, what kind of medicines and science they used to apply, or what kinds of poems or what kinds of epics or stories people used to share. So there are variety of things, and manuscripts has matlab, like say they have helped us a lot to know about our history. So they are mostly written in Sanskrit, and some are written in regional languages also. Like there are very different kind of regional languages in India. So mostly are written in Sanskrit, but there are some which are written in the regional languages. So that's all for this video. We'll cover rest of the chapter in the next video. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe to our channel. Thank you.